Yes.
My question is about parent-children relationships.
Yes.
Specifically with children that are young adults, but having trouble finding their way. Do you have any suggestions as to how far a parent can assist or advise or not advise when dealing with that situation?
Are you speaking?
The child that's living in your home.
Yes. Depending upon the age of the young adult, the best thing you can do for that child is to push them out of the nest. A child, like a bird, cannot begin to fly until they begin to use their wings. Mama bird, in her wisdom, feeds her birds, her babies, only till a certain point, till they have their feathers. And then she pushes them out of the nest, whether or not they can fly. That is not what is important, for she knows they cannot fly. All they can do at best is to flutter to the ground. So as she pushes them out of the nest, she says a little prayer to the God of birds. Please help my young one reach the ground safely. For she knows her young one will not be able to fly. It has never flown before. And then that little one sits upon the ground and flaps his wings because he is not safe and he knows he must hide, he must flap, he must learn to fly. And when he learns to fly, he ascends to the nearest branch and hovers as close to his mother as he can. And so it is with adult children of human race. Sometimes it becomes necessary to instruct the child that they have reached the age or will soon be reaching an age where they must be totally responsible for themselves. And to that end, you will give them a certain amount of time to become self-sufficient, or they will simply have to be off on their own. They will not be permitted to live at home any longer. You see, the hard and fast rule, as inhumane as that may seem to you, is what will enable your child or your children to begin to fly and be on their own. It is important for all parents to recognize at some point, my child is now an adult. It does not matter if it is when they are 18 or 20 or 22. You must set the time for yourself. You must communicate that time to your child. With a firm, you will not be allowed to live here any longer because you need to make your own decisions. While you are in my house, I must make rules for you which allow me to be comfortable. These restrict your movements and your choices. And I do not wish to do this to you any longer, nor do I wish to put myself through the anxiety of wondering where you are when you are out late, of being annoyed when you have eaten the last of the food I intended to serve for dinner tomorrow night. All these things you must do for yourself and your child. You see, your child cannot be free while he is living or she is living within your home. They cannot fly. And so therefore, in your humanity and love for your child, you must push them from the nest and be very firm. You may choose to give them a helping hand to start them. You may give them money. You may put in a deposit on a place to live. You may choose to give them a car, or you may choose not to do any of these things. You must do what is best for yourself. But you as a parent, as part of your parenting jobs, must push your child from the nest so that he or she can learn to fly. Do you understand?
I completely understand. Would your suggestions be modified at all if I had included the information that the child has a mental illness and the psychiatrist has advised that we don't yet know if that child will be able to be a responsible and independent adult? Maybe the timing of those decisions would be a bit different?
I understand, but you are still an individual and a parent who is entitled and obligated to make your child independent. And while they are undergoing services, evaluation, if the child is old enough to qualify for services and help on its own, it is still your obligation to assist them to leave home and become independent to the best of their ability. Your society is extremely kind to those who have mental illnesses, where in the past this might have been your obligation to keep them in your home, and should you choose to do so, you may continue to do so. You are not under an obligation to make a child who is incapable of ever flying leave home. However, you must look to whether you choose to continue to be responsible or whether you would prefer to transfer that general overall burden to society. Do you understand what I am saying?
Yes, I do.
Concerning services. So the choice is yours. And to a large extent, it must be determined on the actions and words and the age of your child. If that child, even though he is mentally ill, is abusive to yourself, makes your life more difficult, you are not under an obligation to suffer. You have done what you can. You can take the actions that you can take to the best of your ability to create an environment that will be helpful and nurturing to your child. But you are not under an obligation to keep them living within your home.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Are there further questions? Then it has also been my pleasure to be with you all in this evening, and I give you my blessings and my love. Good night.
Thank you.